Morning, guys. Let's see who's here. Sally here. Kayla, Mason, Zachary Crampton, Riley's excused today. Jaylianne, Val, not here. Katie's excused today. Dakota, Dalton, Dawson, not here. Well, I would expect absences after Super Bowl. Olivia, Nate, Mary, Mandy, Sharon, Austin here. Alright. Unlike you, I didn't get a chance to watch the Super Bowl. Apparently, it was an exciting one. I was somewhere over either Colorado or St. Louis, one of those, when the game ended. Whirlwind trip. I left Lexington around noon on Thursday. Arrived San Diego 10 o'clock Saturday. I drove there and flew back Sunday morning. My mother of my children is moving to San Diego. She actually moved. I drove her car and the dog. Man, taking a long trip with a dog, don't ever do it again. Just kept whining, kept whining. I mean, I had the zen not to actually scream. All right. Uh, I don't even know how I'm actually in shape to lecture today, but we will. Okay, let's see what we did. Last time we did a VBA function to calculate value and duration of a bond. And we kind of started talking about duration as kind of a measure of exchange rate, interest rate risk. Let's make sure that Dawson only gets half a day off. And we briefly talked about what we can do, for example, with Eurodollar futures. Now, I'm going to go through that today, but with kind of, I'm going to warn you ahead of time, don't, in general, do not hedge a long-term interest rate exposure with short-term instruments. In fact, this is true for almost anything. Before we start with Eurodollar futures, I'll tell you the story of Deutsche Metallgesellschaft. I'm not sure anything about that even exists anymore. Deutsche Metallgesellschaft. Okay. And you can read about this company. That name, Metallgesellschaft, literally means metal is metal. Gesellschaft is, you can think of it as society, company, or something like that. One of the things this company did a lot during 1980s was commodity trading, especially in oil and other metals. If you know anything about uh, late 1970s and early 80s for a lot of different reasons. Arab countries actually had an oil embargo on U.S. It started as the consequence of 1973 Arab-Israeli War, the so-called Six-Day War, and there was another one in 1978-79. As a result, oil prices jumped quite a bit. Way back in the early 70s, a barrel of oil was about $3. And as a result of first embargo, it went as high as $10. Later on, mid 80s, it went as high as $40. I mean, if you thought gas is expensive or was expensive last summer, on an inflation adjusted basis, it was pretty expensive those days. And this kind of created an opportunity for Deutsche Metallgesellschaft. You know, these Arab countries didn't want to sell crude oil to US. Right or wrong, that was the case. But they had no problem selling it to Germans. So this company said, "Okay, I'm gonna make commitments to a lot of my clients in US to sell oil to them for the next 10, 15 years." Very profitable business. You get a lot of contracts. And since they had no problem with embargo, they were going to basically get the oil from the market and sell it to their clients. It's not a bad business model. The only issue was these long-term contracts were made at fixed prices. So let's assume, I don't remember the numbers now. It's been a while I read that case. Let's assume oil prices were $30 a barrel those days. So they're committed to selling certain number of barrels of oil at $30 a barrel. And probably they're gonna place that from the market with some spread, so they're good. But what if the oil prices actually go up? You know, at that point we had seen oil prices go up by a factor of almost 10 within 5 years. Well, if something like that happens again, you're committed to sell it at $30. What if you're going to have to buy it from the market at 60? That's a big risk. So what do? You actually use, they actually use futures contracts on crude oil. These are contracts where if you go long a contract, that means you will benefit from the increase in prices of a contract. If you go short, you'll make money if the price of the contract goes down. So to cover themselves, they put in a lot of long contracts on crude oil futures, which have been around for a very long time at that point. It was an established market. I mean, it still is. For example, CME crude oil. Just to show you the kind of volume we get. Currently, typically the near contract trades quite a bit, 137,000 contracts, and each contract is for 1,000 barrels. So we're talking about trading volume, that's 137 million barrels. That's a lot of oil, okay? And we could also look something called open interest, the number of contracts that are open. Let me see. It's about 171,000. So that's 171 million barrels. And that's a lot of oil. For example, Russia's daily oil volume is about 5 million barrels. So Liquid markets, no problem. The trouble is, and these contracts work in a certain way. Oh, what the fire?